Hey, Kyle's wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's AEW Elevation from August 30th, 2022, recorded August 24th in Cleveland, Ohio, just before that week's Dynamite. So we'll start this week's review off with BTE being the elite as we usually do. We don't go through it too hardcore, but we like to see what's going on. So this is episode number 321 and it's titled High Rolling in Cleveland. So last week on BTE, we saw the return of Kenny Omega. We also saw the Elite was being mean to Brandon Cutler and Brandon Nakazawa. So deep down inside, we know they are still D-bags at the end of the day, for lack of better terms. So they aren't the Bucks see Hangman again in the airport. They don't talk to him. They also see Satnam Singh, and they don't talk to him either. So Cutler has left his suitcase in California at a restaurant on accident. Unlucky for Brandon Cutler. So after the opening, we see Omega and the Bucks do their fit check, and then we go to a gym. It's with the best friends, Danhausen and Toni Storm. Toni looks completely different with her hair all pulled back. It was a little weird looking. But anyway, Trent says that Toni Storm is not replacing Chris Statlander. Orange Cassidy then says that Danhausen smells all right. And Trent says that his mom Sue is doing well and will visit soon. And I couldn't get over how different Toni Storm's hair looked, being all brushed back like that. So anyway, we see the Elite now. They're watching last week's main event. It was the trios tag match where United Empire defeated Death Triangle in a really good match. So the Bucks want to leave, but Omega says, no, we got to watch this. This is who we fight next. So they keep watching, and then we move on. So now we're outside the arena in the parking lot. Matt Hardy is leaving, and Private Party are on a rooftop yelling at Matt not to leave. Matt turns to leave, but then Private Party teleport in front of Matt Hardy, and he says, I didn't teach you teleportation, which was a funny line, going back to the broken Matt Hardy stuff. So Mark Quinn then says that we saw you watching us last week, as we saw Matt Hardy watching their match last week on BTE. And then Matt says, well, don't forget that you're under contract to Andrade and that I'm a toxic person, so stay away from me. And that's been a storyline that's been going on for months now. It looks like Private Party are really trying to get back with Matt now, who has paid them back all the money that he also paid back Butcher and the Blade all the money that he took from them in the Matt Hardy and the Hardy family office, and let them beat him up as well. So it seems as though Private Party has accepted the apology wholeheartedly, and now they're kind of worried about Matt Hardy. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Then Kenny is kind of cringe, and it was weird. So I'm just gonna move on from that segment. Nothing of note happened. He was just acting weird. So anyway, Brian Nemeth is now back to asking his pet animals, his dog and his cat, wrestling questions, and I do like these segments. So Ryan Nemeth asks his dog, "Did you watch Rampage last week?" And then we see highlights of Ryan Nemeth getting absolutely destroyed by Wardlow on Rampage in both of their hometowns. So, and somehow it was a TNT title match as well. I don't know how Nemeth got that. But anyway, Ryan Nemeth asks his dog if he deserves more title matches, and then Ryan watches his match back, and he asks his cat if he should have reversed that power bomb to beat Wardlow, and then he asks if Bray Wyatt is going to win the trios tournament for some reason, and then he makes fun of Satnam Singh, saying he's really only 3 feet tall, he just looks bigger on TV. So another decent segment from Ryan Nemeth. After that, the Elite now walk through downtown Cleveland at night. It looked like a nice place. There was a bunch of rabbits, and then we get a flashback to over 100 episodes ago, Kenny Omega feeding geese, which was cool to see. So, but everything Kenny's kind of doing in this episode isn't really hitting. He's kind of annoying, to be honest. So the Elite now eat dinner, and then they gamble to end the night. And it was a terrible episode of BTE. That's how it ended. So one of the most boring episodes of all of 2022. Completely skippable unless you're a hardcore Elite fan. None of the stories really progressed other than that little bit of Matt Hardy Private Party interaction. But even that, we kind of already knew Private Party was worried about Matt. So the Kenny stuff was a little too goofy for me. and hopefully BTE can improve next week. So let's get into this week's episode of AEW Elevation from August 29th, 2022. And for the third straight week, our commentators will be Excalibur and Daddy Magic Matt Menard, who's been very popular online. And it looks like Matt Menard might have a job for life in wrestling. He could be a manager, an on-screen authority, or a commentator, and he would be great at anything where he gets to use his wit and his intensity. So it seems like Matt Menard might be able to stick around for 20, 30 years with his ability to commentate and be a manager, even if he's not wrestling. So we're going to start Elevation out with Top Flight's Dante Martin coming out. Dante Martin is 13-7 in 2022 in singles matches, but does hold a rare victory over the number 2 ranked Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs eventually got his win back, but still one of the only few people to beat Hobbs all year. Dante has been all over the place this year. He started out in the singles division with his brother Darius being hurt. Then Darius came back after Dante got in both a world title and a TNT title match, lost them both. But then Darius came back, got injured right away. So Dante's been on this weird holding pattern, sometimes in singles matches, sometimes tagging with Matt Sydal, his mentor. And we've even seen him tag with his real life girlfriend, Skye Blue, in a mixed AAA tag title match. So he'll be Dante Martin will be taking on Wes Barkley tonight. Wes Barkley is making his AEW debut, and he's from Cleveland, right here, hometown guy, and he works in the Cleveland-based AEW. Where recently he was in a 4-way match that included Dalton Castle and Ernest the Cat Miller. What a random set of wrestlers that is. So Dante and Wes tie up to start this match. Dante gets a takedown, then they reset. Dante leaps over Wes and hits a nice drop kick. Then Wes hits a rolling lariat that looked pretty good. Wes tries another rolling move, but Dante counters it with a strike. Then Dante jumps off the ropes to evade attacks. Really good stuff there. Dante hits a springboard crossbody, the same one that he split open the lip or knocked a tooth out of the 18-year-old Jordan Drake last week. So or it wasn't something Drake. It wasn't Jordan. Anyway, Dante leaps off the bottom rope, the backflip over Wes, and then Dante, it's his new finisher. It's a twisting half Nelson slam, and he gets the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Dante Martin. So this match was fine. Dante's always fun to watch, and that rolling lariat from Wes was pretty good. So the big star of the show already is clearly Daddy Magic Matt Menard. He's already on fire in this episode, and he stays that way throughout. So good stuff. Now the lights go out for the next match, and Julia Hart appears on the stage. So we go from the 21-year-old Dante Martin to the 20-year-old Julia Hart, who has been unstoppable since joining House of Black, winning her matches very quickly. And she's undefeated since joining the House of Black. So Julia Hart has been working on her submission finisher, making adjustments to it until its final form now, and it looks nasty. So this will be the 6th week in a row on Elevation out of the last 8 that Julia Hart has had a singles match on Elevation. None of them have gone over 3 minutes long. So her opponent already in the ring is Arie Alexander, who's from Cincinnati, Ohio, and has an AEW record of 0-2. Her only singles match was also against Julia Hart, where she lost in February. So it's not looking good for Arie Alexander here, because this is a much different Julia Hart than she saw back in February. Arie Alexander has been with OVW for almost 2 years now. So let's see if she's can improve from her last outing. We know Julia's improved. So the bell rings, and Julia just stands there, stares in the Arie's soul. Eventually, Arie wants to tie up, but Julia just kicks her hard in the gut. Then Julia hits strikes in the corner, a chop and a handspring lariat. Pretty good there from the former 2-time national champion cheerleader Julia Hart. Good handspring moves for sure. Arie then evades running back elbow, and as Arie Alexander is able to hit 2 big forearms, but Julia counters the next move, hitting a snapmare takedown, then a standing moonsault. That looked pretty good as well. So Julia hits a nasty looking sliding lariat right to the back of the head, and then Julia applies her also nasty submission, and we have a new name for the submission now that it's reached its final form. It is called the Heartless Lock. So the Heartless Lock is applied, and Arie taps out right away because it does look like a nasty. It's on the arms and the back, and with the way Julia is able to bend all the way backwards. It looks like a great submission hold. So the winner of this match by submission, Julia Hart. And yet another week goes by where Julia doesn't have to take one bump. So whenever AEW does put Julia Hart into a competitive match, I don't think she's going to be ready for it, because for months and months and months, it's been 2-minute squash matches. She has definitely improved her offense, and now Julia's moveset is way, way better. So she could start having competitive matches, but hopefully those are in tag match. I would like to see her in tag matches, the ones we get on Elevation and Dark, with the women, where it's like 6 women tag and they have a competitive match where Julia will take a few bumps. She needs some of that before they put her on like Dynamite or Rampage in a regular match. And right now, like I said, Julia has been improving her moveset, and her offense looks better. She's just not. She needs to work on having an actual match now. And I see why she's not in the tag matches. It's because she's kind of like a loner who only hangs out with the House of Black. So if that's the case, maybe the House of Black needs to recruit another woman so that Julia could have tag matches. So I know that would kind of take away from Julia being the only woman in the group, but if they get a second one, I think it would benefit her career to have tag matches. Maybe she could just find someone like a lackey, like someone that's not even on the roster right now, could be Julia's lackey. That way, Julia doesn't look too diminished in her role, and we'll still have tag matches to work with. So speaking of tag matches in the women's division, we'll have one next as Skye Blue's music hits, and she comes out with Queen Aminata, who are making their debut as a tag team. And this is the third elevation match in the month of August for Queen Aminata, after she had been gone from AEW since February. So maybe the Queen is getting close to being signed. And then, oh no, not good news for Skye Blue, because Nyla Rose's music hits. And it looks like we're resuming this Nyla Rose Skye Blue rivalry, which has been completely one-sided, with Nyla destroying Skye every time. So the Beast of Burden come out. That's the team of Nyla Rose, Marina Shafir, and their manager, Vickie Guerrero. So Beast of Burden are 4-1 as a tag team. Their only loss come in the Thunderstorm. So here we go again. It's always a little uncomfortable to watch Nyla Rose just absolutely destroy Skye Blue, and those two will start the match. So Skye's able to duck under a couple strikes and kick Nyla. Then Skye counters a Goozle with a forearm strike, and Nyla catches a kick and hits a nasty power slam. So I hate watching this, but thankfully Nyla now tags out to Marina, and Skye counters a double team, kicking Marina in the head. Queen Aminata now is able to tag in. She hits a nasty loud chop to Marina's chest. Skye then hits a step up knee strike because she hadn't left the ring yet, and Aminata hits a snap suplex right after that. That looked pretty good. So Queen Aminata now hits a kick and a running strike, but Marina Shafir counters the next strike, hitting a judo throw and a couple nasty kicks. Equally nasty Uranagi slam by Marina. Then she tags in Nyla Rose. So Nyla hits a standing splash, and Skye has to come in and break up the pin after those big strikes that Aminata had just taken. So Marina now tags back in. They double team Queen Aminata, finishing with a big senton that crushes Aminata from Nyla. Skye Blue is able to tag in, however. Marina then ducks under a roundhouse kick and hits a big time German suplex release version. Nyla now tags in, and Marina knocks Aminata off the apron. Nyla and Marina hit a double team DDT, but it was so horribly mistimed that Skye basically just falls on the Marina's body with a crossbody, and her head was nowhere near hitting the mat. Really botched, and that it gets the 1, 2, 3. Wow. Winners of this match by pinfall, the Beast of Burden, and that was a really bad looking finish. One of those that was going to circulate online, give the AEW women a bad name, when most of the AEW women are way better than this. This was just a horribly mistimed move between Nyla and Marina. Probably Marina messed it up. I know Nyla's way more experienced, and Skye Blue had no control over this, so it wasn't her fault. Things happen. It's very unfortunate for it to happen on the finish, because then it looks like Skye Blue kicked out of, or couldn't kick out of, like nothing, getting hit with nothing. But anyway, yeah, that's going to circulate on Twitter and stuff. It is what it is, but hopefully Marina and Nyla can get their double teams together, and hopefully we get a tag division for the women coming up. We have so many tag matches in the women's division, but there's no tag titles to fight for. And now we've got Beast of Burden, the Renegade Twins, couple other people we got Tay. So there are a couple of established tag teams already with other alliances already formed, like Ruby Soho and Sky Blue, and can't think of any others, but I know there is others. So anyway, let's get to the next match as Matt Hardy comes out with the old Hardy Boys music, and he's dressed like it's the year 2001. So Matt comes into this match looking for his first singles win of 2022, if you can believe it. He's only had 2 singles matches and lost them both. Matt Hardy losing to Christian recently and Penta Obscuro. So Matt Hardy's opponent already in the ring is RSP Ricky Shane Page, and he's a 19-year pro, and he's a big boy at 6'5", almost 300 pounds. So RSP is also from Ohio, and he mostly works nowadays for the Circle 6 promotion. So this will be the first AEW match in 2022 for RSP, but he had 7 matches in 2021, losing all 7 of them. So they tie up. RSP is able to use his power advantage to back Matt up to the ropes. Matt now fires up and he says, "Hurt me." So Matt still trying to get his penance to redeem himself here. Ricky Shane Page hits a few strikes here, but Matt counters and hits RSP into the turnbuckles with the delete turnbuckle hits. Then Matt applies a sleeper hold, and Private Party walk out to the stage. The crowd boos them, even though Private Party are babyface good guys now. However, they're just trapped in the AFO. Not all AEW fans would even know that Private Party are good guys, and that's understandable. AEW does need to make it a little more clear that Private Party are good guys. So, and they're just trapped in the Andrade family office. So Ricky Shane Page gets out of the sleeper. Matt counters a twist of fate attempt. RSP trying the twist of fate. Matt counters this, but RSP blocks the side effect right after that and hits a nice enziguri kick for a man his size. That looked awesome. We see a woman in the crowd after that stunned at what she just saw, which was a great reaction shot. And the woman's also wearing a great hat that has Kermit drinking out of a red Solo cup. So love that crowd shot. Give the director some drinks after the show for that one. Ricky Shane Page now goes up to the top rope and he misses a senton, crashing into the mat hard. That looked nasty. Matt goes up to the middle rope, hits an elbow drop. Matt fires up and hits the twist of fate, getting the 1, 2, 3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Matt Hardy, with his first singles victory of 2022. So Matt Hardy stares down Private Party, but they just stand there. But we did see what happened after this on BTE. So we saw what happened when they were in the parking lot. Private Party wants to be with Matt. Matt doesn't want them anywhere near him. So this match was pretty good. I would definitely like to see Ricky Shane Page getting some more matches in AEW. This was a good match for Elevation standards, and Matt looked fine in this. He didn't look too slow. I mean, it was a short match. So anyway, let's move on to the next one as the Professor Serena Deeb now comes out. She's got a immaculate 12-1 singles record in 2022, which somehow does not get Serena Deeb into the top 5. So Serena's only singles loss was for the AEW World Title against Thunder Rosa. The ROH World Title match that she lost against Mercedes Martinez did not count towards the AEW records. So wow, speaking of Mercedes, where the heck has she been? Before the ROH pay-per-view Death Before Dishonor, Mercedes, the ROH World Champion, was always on Elevation, but now we haven't seen her since she beat Deeb at Death Before Dishonor. So I looked it up. Mercedes' last match in any company was the day after Death Before Dishonor. So maybe Mercedes got injured in that match, or she wrestled too soon after the grueling match with Deeb the night before. So maybe she aggravated something, or was just taking a break. Either way, Serena Deeb's opponent tonight, already in the ring, is Katie Arquette, who is stepping through the ultimate forbidden door tonight, as we also saw Katie Arquette on Raw the same night as this Elevation, which is awesome to see. Katie Arquette is 0-1 in 2022. She lost to her opponent tonight, Serena Deeb, in Deeb's first ever 5-minute rookie challenge, where Katie only lasted a minute. So let's see if she's improved at all since February. And Deeb is able to get wrist control right away, hyperextending Katie's arm. Deeb talks trash, acknowledging their past match in the rookie challenge. Love that from Deeb. Would love to see more things like that in wrestling. Serena Deeb is the absolute best. She now hits a nasty chop on Katie, but this fires up Katie Arquette, who hits Serena Deeb silly I don't know why I wrote silly, but Deeb is able to duck under the strike, and Deeb applies an octopus stretch. Katie's able to use her power to get out of this, but Deeb hits a huge uppercut, and then Katie counters the next attack, hitting a headbutt. Pretty good match here. Deeb then shows really good agility, sliding through the legs, and then able to hit a swinging neck breaker, and Deeb applies the Serenity Lock, forcing Katie to tap out. So the winner of this match by submission, Serena Deeb, and it's always fun to watch Serena Deeb, but I would much rather watch her in 10, 15-minute matches at least every other week. So we don't get anything like that. We get these 3-minute matches from Serena Deeb where she just destroys people. It's fun to watch, but I think it's a waste of talent. Like, Deeb definitely needs to be in storylines. She needs to be featured in matches. Like, you could it's okay to have more than 2 women's matches on Dynamite. Like, having Serena Deeb in a really good match against, I don't know, just a 10-minute match with Ruby Soho would be fine. Like, put that match on. Like, come on. So anyway, Deeb doesn't need any more squash wins, and hopefully she gets back in the title picture soon. And like, how is Serena Deeb with her 12 now she's 13-1 in singles matches this year? How was Deeb not in the 4-way interim title match? It makes no sense. Her record is probably better than all 4 of the women in the 4-way. So that's just ridiculous. If, like, why do we keep track of records and stuff if that's not the case? Anyway, you guessed it. Frankie Kazarian now comes out for the next match, and it's been since July 1st at the Royal Rampage since we've seen Frankie Kazarian, who also had a banger match against Chris Sabin that same week on Impact Wrestling. So Frankie has been wrestling matches elsewhere, including beating Alan Angels last month at a Prestige event. So Frankie Kazarian comes into this match with a 9-4 AEW singles record in 2022, but he's lost 3 of his last 4. So Frankie's looking to get back on track tonight. His opponent already in the ring is Andrea Guercio, who's legitimately from Italy and is also known as the Mambo Italiano. And this is the second person tonight on tonight's Elevation who has walked through that forbidden door between WWE and AEW. We saw Andrea have a match on Raw earlier this month, losing to Omos. And we also saw Andrea last week on Elevation. He lost in a tag match to Josh Woods and Tony Nese. And even the graphic tonight says that Andrea Guercio is making his AEW debut. However, it's his singles debut, not his AEW debut. So come on, Bush League there. Anyway, they tie up and they get a break in the ropes. Andrea talks a bunch of trash here, and he's fired up for this match. They tie up again. Frankie Kazarian hits 2 arm drags and applies an armbar. Andrea gets to his feet and reverses wrist control and hyperextends Frankie's arm. Then Frankie flips out and hits a loud chop, followed by a running Russian leg sweep. That's always a good looking move. Nobody else hits a Russian leg sweep like that. Andrea now rolls over to the apron, and he's able to hot shot Frankie across the ropes. Andrea hits a nice kick combo now. Frankie hits more loud chops and a flying forearm, followed by a scoop slam and a springboard leg drop. So Frankie then applies a cross face chicken wing, and it takes it to the mat, forcing Andrea to tap out. The winner of this match by submission, Frankie Kazarian. So solid match here. Great to see Frankie Kazarian back. Nothing much else to say. Andrea looked good when on his offense and stuff. And but I could say that Daddy Magic Matt Menard yet again has been amazing on commentary. Great stuff. 3 weeks in a row now. So I'd love to see him back. Someone else that had the reason I say love to see him back is we had 3 straight weeks of and Anthony Ogogo, who was also not like nearly as entertaining as Matt Menard, but Anthony Ogogo was really good talking about the actual fights and the matches and stuff. So, but we saw him for 3 weeks on Elevation, never seeing him again as commentator. So that could potentially happen with Matt Menard, but with all the support he's gotten online, maybe it won't happen and he'll keep this job for a little longer. If you remember before that, it was Big Show, No More BS, I should say, Paul White and Mark Henry was with Excalibur. So it's been a little while since we've heard those two. They were all right. When Mark and Paul were on together, they had good chemistry together because they're like been best friends for a couple decades. But it's definitely like I preferred Ogogo and Matt Menard. to them. So anyway, the next match, the Butcher and the Blade come out and they wait on the entrance ramp because this will be a trios match, and making their trios debut, it will be the Butcher, the Blade, and Rush. So Rush comes out, also spelled Rush, but pronounced Rush, and I know that doesn't pick up. It's on the subtitles for people that use the subtitles. But Rush or Rush comes out, and he's also part of the Andrade El Idolo La Facción Ingobernables, but his partners are part of the Andrade family office. So they have an alliance here, business alliance. So unlike Private Party, Butcher and the Blade have no problem being in the Andrade family office. They're just mercenaries willing to do anything for the right price. And they are clear heels, unlike Private Party. So their opponents already in the ring are Chase Oliver, Zach Nystrom, and Elijah Dean. So somehow they're all wearing the same green and gold colors. Good stuff to make them look like an actual trios team here. And there's some contracted AEW teams that could definitely learn a thing or two from them on that note. So anyway, Chase Oliver has had one match in AEW, also here in Cleveland, and that was a 1 minute match, 1 minute loss to Lance Archer. So that's understandable. So Elijah Dean and Zach Nystrom are an established tag team. They're called Money Shot, which is why their gear matches perfectly. They once lost a tag team match in AEW to FTR in 12 seconds. So ouch, not good for the Money Shot. So Elijah Dean is the current IWC champion, where the Hardys are also the current tag champions. So I'm guessing those won't be defended anytime soon. Anyway, Rush is going to start this match out with Zach Nystrom. Rush destroys him right away with a running forearm and then hits a drop kick. Rush rips his shirt off, and he's fired up for this one. He hits some attacks in the corner and fakes doing his shotgun drop kick, but just ends up slapping Zach in the face. Chase and then Butcher tag in both, and Chase tries to hit some strikes, but Butcher just absorbs them, then hits a nasty knee strike and throws Chase down hard. Butcher then hits a loud chop and a pump handle suplex. You don't see too many pump handle suplexes in wrestling nowadays. That looked awesome. Blade then tags in. He hits some chops, and Chase's chest is all red and beat up already. Chase is able to backflip out of a suplex, however, and Elijah Dean tags in. Blade then hits a huge lariat. Butcher tags in. They hit a double team powerbomb neck breaker. They knock the other two off the apron. Then Rush tags in, and he hits the bull's horn drop kick in the corner for the 1-2-3. You could have counted to 1,000 on that one. The winners of this match by pinfall, Rush, the Butcher, and the Blade. So I wasn't sure if I should call them Andrade Family Office or La Facción Ingobernables, but I didn't want to call them either because they're both in separate factions. They're just in an alliance because Andrade is in both, or the leader of both, I should say. So anyway, that was a fine match, and it was cool to see Rush on Elevation. Good stuff there. So anyway, it's already down to the main event, so not too eventful, not too much to report. We're not even a half hour into this review, and we reviewed BTE as well. But this main event is a good one because the Regina de Wave Championship will be on the line, with Hikaru Shida defending against her bitter rival Emi Sakura. So it looks like it's going to be a good one here. Hikaru Shida recently, just 2 weeks ago, won the Regina de Wave Championship from the Wave promotion in Japan. And Shida has been going back and forth, showing up for Elevation mostly. She hasn't been on Dynamite since this last week. And she will be on this week as well. But Shida's been going from Japan to America for like 2 months every week, basically. And now paid off with her winning the title here in the Wave promotion, and Shida will defend it against her former teacher and bitter rival Emi Sakura. So Shida and Sakura have reignited their rivalry over the last month here on Elevation, mostly in tag matches where they singled each other out every time. And just last week, it was announced, like I said, on Dynamite, because the AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa is out injured, an interim AEW Women's Champion will be crowned at All Out this Sunday in a 4-way match. So Shida just barely made the cut to be in that 4-way match. Emi Sakura did not. So that just fuels pours more fuel onto this rivalry, onto the fire that is this rivalry, and it's going to be making this a great match. Remember, the title is on the line. Hikaru Shida and Emi Sakura have been in the same match 106 times together, going all the way back to 2008. So you know they have a ton of chemistry. So the challenger and teacher, Emi Sakura, comes out first. She's going to be accompanied by Balian Aki, who also works for Emi's Choco Pro promotion in Japan. We also saw Aki lose on Dark recently. So he had a pretty good match, but he couldn't win. I forget who it was against. Sorry, I didn't write it down. Before the match starts, Emi rushes in right away, hitting Shida in the head with her own crown. Then the bell rings after that. So Emi pulls the hair to keep control here, and we're off and underway in this title match. Don't forget, for the Wave Championship. So Shida hits the "We Will Chop You" chops, and Shida then rushes out to avoid the crossbody that usually follows. Shida then does the "We Will Rock You," but no chops with it, just doing the "We Will Rock You" stomps and stuff. And this allows Emi to rush in, but Shida was waiting for it, able to counter with a suplex. She then hits corner-mounted punches and a drop kick, but Emi's able to knock Shida out of the ring with a running crossbody on the apron. Shida then kicks the legs out, I should say, to avoid a penalty kick, and Emi falls hard on the apron and to the outside. So Shida then grabs a chair, opens it up, and sets it on the ground so that Shida can jump off it, but Emi counters this and suplexes Shida right into the chair, and it looked extra nasty because she barely grazed the edge of the chair, which made it look even more painful. Back in the ring now, Emi Sakura hits a Liger bomb and got all of it. So Shida was really rocked by that chair shot. Now a Liger bomb. So Emi goes up to the top rope and she's able to hit a moonsault. I thought for sure she wasn't going to hit it, but it hits. Shida just barely kicks out and almost lost her Wave title. So Hikaru Shida's in trouble now. That chair shot really hurt her. Shida then is able to counter a power bomb with a Hurricane Rana, and Shida hits a nasty jumping knee strike. So she uses this time to recover. She needed that. She almost lost the title. The crowd's going wild. They're loving what they see. So am I. Shida now gets fired up, and she opens up her shirt, revealing her chest kind of for Emi. She asks Emi to chop her chest. She then hits chops back, and she hits a flurry of forearms now that and a sliding elbow strike. She then hits a top rope Meteora, and Emi Sakura is just barely able to kick out of this. Emi then pulls the referee into the way of the next attack. Emi rakes the eyes, and then she is able to just hit a Falcon Arrow anyway. Emi counters this pin into a pin of her own, almost winning after getting hit with the Falcon Arrow, but Shida kicks out. Emi then gets a Mahai Straw Cradle, almost winning again, but Shida's able to get out and hit a springboard kick that she calls the Venus Shoot. So Emi then blocks another Falcon Arrow attempt, but Shida counters right back, hitting a huge elbow strike. Shida hits a nasty kick to the face, a spinning kick to the face for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match, and still Regina Del Wave champion Hikaru Shida. So really good match here, as expected. We knew it would be, and it lived up to expectations. They didn't get much time. That's the thing. Elevation can only be so much time since Dynamite goes live right after it. So there is no time to improvise. And if you're in the main event, anybody that might have took extra time earlier then gets cut out of the main event. So that's fine. The length was okay. It was a hard-hitting match. That chair shot really told the story, almost allowing Emi the win. And don't forget, it was Shida that brought the chair out to begin with. So it wasn't like Emi really didn't cheat. She just hit a move right after, and she didn't even do anything. She never touched the chair once. So anyway, too bad that Emi didn't get a chance to fight for the interim title, and it looks like Emi Sakura will hit 1,000 days since her last Dynamite appearance, which is just ridiculous because she's here basically every week, just on Elevation. So this week, we'll see Shida on Dynamite in a tag team match with her 3 opponents in that 4-way match for the interim title, which will be this Sunday at All Out. So that was a fine episode of Elevation with a really great main event, but nothing too special on the rest of the night. Nothing to really make you feel like we just entered the big all-out week. It would have been better. Like, I remember when it was the week for ROH, they made it a really good job of making it feel like it was an ROH week. But I guess the only way they could have made it feel like it was the beginning of all out week was to put a bigger match. And I guess the women's match was a pretty big match, but maybe they could have had a semi-main event with a couple of stars fighting each other. Like, where the heck has Ethan Page been? And what's going on with the Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page joining up with Stokely Hathaway, and then they joined up with Stokely, never to be seen again. So what it looks like it's not paying off to sign up with Stokely Hathaway. You never get on TV at all. At least Ethan Page and Lee Moriarty were somewhat getting on TV before. every now and then before joining up. So I'm guessing now that the Gun Club joined up with Stokely Hathaway, they'll have some kind of grand reveal, and Stokely Hathaway might give him a name or something. So maybe that's where Lee Moriarty and Ethan Page have been. They're just waiting for this. Maybe that's something we'll get on Dynamite or the live Rampage or All Out. Is something with the Stokely Hathaway male stable that has Lee Moriarty, Ethan Page, and Austin and Colton Gunn. So maybe they'll get their grand reveal. So we'll see if Dark on Tuesday is any better than this. Maybe they'll help us feel like it's All Out week. But even if it doesn't, we've got a live Rampage, a live Dynamite, of course. So both of those live should be both good shows leading up to All Out. We still don't know what the main event of All Out is going to be. So we've got so much story to look forward to. Maybe an MJF return. So who knows what kind of wild things are going to happen this week. But pretty much a skippable episode of Dark and a skippable episode of BTE. So not much to report there, but definitely take the time. This match is only about 8 minutes long. Go watch the main event, Hikaru Shida against Emi Sakura for the Regina Del Wave Championship. That's the only thing you really need to watch out of this entire Monday slate of AEW stuff. So it happens. Not every show is going to be great, and even the BTE sucked. So it just was an unfortunate Monday where both shows weren't very good. But what are you going to do? So I'll be back here to cover Dark on Tuesday, and of course live after Dynamite. So enjoy your week and this big all-out week. We've got a lot to look forward to, and I'll be back here to cover Dark on Tuesday. So thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your time, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.